Oh, hey, how you doing? Hey guys, I'm here today. Happy Sunday to everyone. The energy is quite phenomenal, I have to say. I'm getting that we're supposed to sit low today. You're just sitting low. You're connected to the earth. You don't need to get all ethereal. You could just chill. Enjoy the sitting low, as if you're lying down on grass and you're watching the stars. You're just sitting low. You bump into someone at the grocery store, you're just sitting low. That's the vibe I'm getting. So I'm feeling very in my body today. As we go through this ascension process, by the way, I haven't really officially started yet. I'm just sharing stuff with you. As you go through your ascension process, you start to really enjoy the dimensional space that you're in when you're in it. When I first awakened in 2011, my kundalini would awaken at 5 p.m. and then it would be all night. And it still does that every night. I don't have to meditate. 5 p.m., boop, it starts its ascent and it moves through my body. It's like a snake that slithers through my body. But when you become more embracing of the journey, because when I first awakened, I would get mad at my guides. I'm like, why do you guys only give me the kundalini in the late afternoon? And they're like, Phil, you need to learn how to appreciate every moment. When you're feeling human, when you're feeling tired, when you haven't slept at all, when you have slept a lot. So as you start to ripen yourself spiritually, you start to appreciate the sitting low. You start to appreciate that human aspect of just being, because you already have access to your multidimensional communication system. We all have a multidimensional communication system. You start to gain more and more and more access. There's connectivity there. And whether you're sitting low or vibrating high, whether you're tired or whether you're filled with energy, you appreciate wherever it is that the universe has you. So thank you for the donations, guys. So I haven't done an energy update in a while. I'm in my PJs, you guys. So this is going to be like a chill, sitting low, laid back energy update. I'm not going to get into crazy channeling mode. This is just going to be an energy update, just to give you a briefing on the energies so that you can know what to expect, so that you can know how to conduct yourself and how you want to play the game. Because it is a game. We're in a video game, you guys. And our guides are really just the aspect of us that made the game, that designed the game. So we want to connect to that higher bird's eye view, because that's what gives us access to this entire game that we're in. You want to be the pawn on the chessboard, but you also want to be the one looking at the chessboard. That's the key. You want to be both. Because if you're up here and you're not in your humanness anymore, then what happens is you don't have a footing on this reality. You want to have both. You're here for an experience, but you're also here to connect into all that you are, to your team, to your higher self, to your guides, to your angels, to the ascended masters, to the makers of the game, and observe your life from that vantage point. Thank you for the $79. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. It does help. Thank you. Thank you. So I've been getting a lot of visions this week about how the pot of trauma and drama is being stirred up. How a lot of old stuff that has yet to be integrated, that has yet to be transmuted, is really showing up in people's holograms right now. And it's a specific imprint. That imprint is, who is it that you're seeking approval from? That's causing you to feel a certain type of way. That's causing you to feel like you're less than. That's causing you to feel like you're unworthy. Who is it that you're seeking validation from? And your sweet tooth won't be satisfied. Your sweet tooth of approval, of that stamp of approval, won't be satisfied until they see you. Okay, the other message I got is, what triggers you? What is it? What button do people press that still gets to you, that still gets under your skin, that you haven't addressed yet? You might have addressed it somewhat, partially, maybe to a large degree, but it's still not fully cleared. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about how certain people's stomachs are in almost like a pretzel. They're all twisted inside because they're not going to feel satiated until that one person sees them and acknowledges them. This is a theme that's running in the collective for a lot of people right now. Okay, it's playing out and it's pretty heavy. So, what you want to do is take a step back, plug yourself into your eternal self energy, to your team, to your guides, to your angels, to those higher aspects of who you are, and start asking yourself if it's supporting the ascension, meaning the ascension at large, the one that we're all a part of, or if it's stopping you from ascending, if it's stomping your growth. So I'll share a personal story with me. Mine was when people would write a negative or a smug remark on my social media, I still got triggered, but it wasn't triggered like it used to be. It was more like I want to say something to educate everyone. And I never did it from a place of anger. But then my guides were like, Phil, we need to get real with you. This particular thing keeps popping up in your hologram because you're still feeding into it. And as long as you feed into it, you're energizing it, and you're energizing that storyline that you're unsafe in the world, that someone is threatening you or posing a threat to you. So let me disassemble this so that you can understand this. When we do shadow work, we usually reach a certain light quotient within us, okay? Let's say that I've done a lot of work on myself and that I've transcended 80% of that particular topic, okay? Let's say that that topic was that you're afraid to speak your truth, and then you learn how to speak your truth, and then you overly speak your truth, okay? The lesson's already been learned. You don't need to keep doing that. We got it. You can speak your truth. So my point is, we go through these pretty intensive clearing processes, shadow work, whatever it is, and let's say that you hit 80%, where you're above it. That energy is like your puppeteer now. You can play with it. You've transcended it. So you can still keep 10% of it there because it's not a threat to you anymore. This is really profound, you guys. I see you, Cooley. So yes, I do see you. She said, do you see me? I see all of you. So let's say that you do shadow work and you address an issue from within and you clear 95% of it. Now you're above it, meaning not from a derogatory place or from a superior place, but you've overcome it. And then you decide, I'm going to leave 5% of there in my field so that I can play. I call that the Joker energy or the trickster energy. I did that for many years. When I became really awakened, I had this ability to share anything I wanted, but not be what I shared. I'll repeat that. I had this ability to share whatever I wanted, but not be what I share. So I would drop a gem from the clouds, and then everyone would fight and they would try to attack me, but I was never there. That's because I had already transcended all those layers. And I call that being the trickster. It's not a bad energy, it's an important energy because that means it indicates that you're wide awake now. But what some people have the tendency of doing, and I see it all the time, is they'll keep playing that game, not realizing that there's a higher octave that's waiting for them. That higher octave being, you don't need that 5% in your field anymore. You don't need that debris or that trace of energy in your field. We get it. You've overcome it. Great. Now let it go fully and entirely. So sometimes I'll see people on social media whom I love. I see that they're awake people. But because they're still dishing out that energy, they're always going to get flack for it because they're drawing it to self. And that reflection is being shown to them because their universe wants them to step it up and say, enough of this game, enough of these charades. I'm done. I don't need to keep doing that, because the thing is, everything will always be reflected back to you. So even though you're an awakened soul and you can see everyone and you can already predict their reactions, great. That's a good skill set to have. I have that skill set. I can be Joker all day long and teleport. Boom, 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 boom. Once you think you got me, you don't got me. I had this quote that I wrote once that was like, this isn't verbatim, but I'm paraphrasing. It was something like, trying to undermine someone who can teleport. No, yes, trying to undermine someone who can teleport is like throwing them in a cage and expecting them to stay there. You can't put someone in a box if they're awake. You just can't. And this is important for us to talk about. If you're awake spiritually, you cannot put someone in a box, because they've already done the whole algorithm. They know everything you're about to say. So it's a really fun game and it's very empowering. The best example I can give you is if you're a stripper, which there's nothing wrong with stripping, there's no judgment. If you're a stripper and you go to the club, there's a difference in vibration if you're shaking it and twerking it and you're like, oh yeah, I need a daddy. Or if you're shaking it and you're like, get your ass back home, why are you at the club? So people won't understand frequency until they understand subtle frequency. There's a difference in those frequencies. It's all frequency. If you're shaking it like, oh, I'm sad and I want a daddy, yeah, that gives out a different frequency than if you're twerking and you're like, why the hell are you at the club? Go back home. People don't understand frequency. So until we understand frequency, you will not understand frequency. And I'm probably going to use that example for the rest of my career. And I'll probably even twerk for you guys. So, so the thing is, right? That's still in that trickster energy. That's still in that trickster energy. But there's a higher energy of, can you serve the person who came to the strip club and give them a good time without all of those games? You see what I'm saying? Can you be in your empowered state and still be loving and give them what they came for? So there's always a higher octave. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with career. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with a talent that you have. It doesn't matter what it is. It's what frequency are you pulsing out? So the vision I received this week is that those of us who might be seeking approval, there will be 1,000 people saying we love you, but you're so affixed to the person who doesn't see you that you won't be satisfied until they do. But the thing is, that person may not see you. They're probably not going to see you. You know why? Because A, you're still wanting that approval, and that's very unappealing. I know for me, if someone's like a leech and they're like, ooh, see me, see me, see me, I'm like, just get off me. It's a lot. It's like a critter that's crawling all over you, right? But then there's the other perspective, which is like, I see you, stop doing that. And I'm more that kind of person. I just tell it like it is. If someone's like clamoring for my attention, I'm like, hey, I see you, but don't do that anymore. It's not healthy. You're not vibrating yourself into a higher level. I'm just being honest with you, because a lot of people aren't able to be that real. And I happen to be that real. That's just how I roll. Okay. I don't do any of that, all that other stuff. I don't monkey around. I tell it like it is. And you guys are witnessing more of the Phil right now, because this is Phil when I'm chilling. When I channel, I'm more objective. But with my friends, I'm very real. Like, there's no nonsense. So the thing is, right now, you really have to identify what's coming up in your field that is a repetitive pattern, something that keeps rearing its ugly head, that's causing your stomach to pretzel, to truly twist like a pretzel. And then recognize that by continually feeding into that narrative of unworthiness, of I want this person to acknowledge me, you're hurting all of us. And that was my light bulb moment last week. It was a light bulb moment. Even though I had already transcended all of that stuff and I could respond to negative comments with wit, right? With wit. I have wit. Even if I could do that and I wasn't affected by it, I had to get real with myself and say, is this helping the collective? Because the thing is, it keeps popping up and I feel this knee-jerk reaction to want to respond. But again, I'm not responding from a traumatized place. I'm responding from a place of I've already overcome this. Now let me educate you. So I had to get real with myself and ask myself, is this still a form of a trigger? Yes, it is a form of a trigger, whether or not you've transcended it. It's still a trigger. Because if you're quick to respond, that means that it's a trigger. And by doing that, are you really assuming responsibility for the collective of the human race? You are here to serve the entire collective based on what you decide to do. And I'll get into choice in a minute. Based on what you decide to do, you are choosing to either serve yourself, meaning the ego that still wants food from that old storyline that you're not enough, that you need that acknowledgement, that you need that approval, right? Your ego wants food. It needs you to get reactive so it can take that food. It's like a buffet of energy. Is that the responsible thing to do? Or is the appropriate thing to do to pause, breathe through it, and decide I'm not going to feed into this story anymore. I love myself too much. From one viewpoint, you can say that it is yours because if it wasn't yours, you probably wouldn't see it as much. It wouldn't show up and become so apparent in your field. So it's something that you need to clean up because it's yours. From another perspective, it's never been yours, but you believed a lie. So if someone tries to jeopardize you, they're posing a threat to something that you're still clinging on to. If someone says to me, you're a bad guy, you're not a good person, I know I'm a good person, right? I know, so I know it's not true, but it's still true that that made me feel a certain kind of way. So what their statement isn't true, but it is true that it's still digging something up in me. It's either digging it up or it's a lie that was told to me many times and I'm still believing it in some way. All right, I can go quantum with this, but I know it's not true. But the thing is, why do I need to respond then? What am I defending? What am I protecting? So the guides are asking us right now not to protect anything because you are safe. You are shrouded in angelic light. You are shrouded in angelic light. You don't need to state your case. You don't need to explain or justify. Now again, do I think we will someday get to the place where we can be witty and we can respond like that teleporter, like that Joker? Yes, I think we'll get there. But right now, there's still too much trauma being held by the collective. I love playing like that, but I also recognize that I don't want to just push someone up against a wall and make them feel like what they said is to be completely invalidated. Because they're allowed to have their experience, and then I have to give myself allowance to release whatever that is, whether it's true or not, to not believe and buy into that story anymore. And as you do this, you are lending the biggest contribution. You are truly contributing the highest energy to the entire collective. Remember, when you address these issues, you're actually uploading the recipe for other people. You're uploading that recipe. So right now you have a choice to either fall under the category of I'm going to be the trickster, the Joker, who can teleport in and out of perspectives, which is fun, but it's limiting. I stayed there maybe for a year, and then I was like, okay, cool, I've proved my point. Like, I can bounce around. Awesome. Or am I going to look at the higher perspective, which is that this journey is about me. It's not about those people. It's not about who I'm responding to. It's about me. Am I doing something to stall myself? Am I remaining parked in the same old space? And what I've learned in life is that until you really pinpoint what it is that triggers you and you bring resolution to it, you cannot reach graduation. You cannot. So we have to be willing to look at this in order to get in that elevator and move up to the penthouse. You have to. Because here's the thing, what's on that penthouse is that next version of who you are. That next version of who you are has a different set of issues, different attacks coming on. So if you can't handle this small attack, how are you going to handle a bigger attack? You won't be able to. So your universe has positioned you exactly where you need to be right now to really place your attention on what it is that pushes your buttons so that you can clear it once and for all. I call this feeling wounds versus feeding wounds. And I have a whole webinar about that. So this is just a sidebar. If you want to see my entire webinar on feeling wounds versus feeding wounds, you can go to feelgoodlife.com/webinars. It's a great webinar. And I go in depth with everything, okay? I detail everything. But my point is, are you giving yourself permission to feel what it is that you're feeling so that you can heal it? You have to feel it to heal it. Are you giving yourself that permission slip? Or maybe, again, it's not something you have to heal. Maybe it's just a lie that you're still buying into. But as long as you feed into it, that you feed that wound, all you're going to do is energize that story, and it's going to keep rearing its ugly head in your personal hologram. Because that's the law of attraction, my friends. So the vision I received was, there's train A and then there's train B. And every single time someone says something to get under your skin, whether that be a negative comment or whether that be that you're still reaching for someone's approval, call it your choice point. I have a choice to get on train A, or I have a choice to embark train B. Which one am I going to embark upon? Train A is going to lead me to the same place I've been to before, because I've been here before and I know how the cookie crumbles. I just repeat the old cycle. It's a rinse and repeat cycle. When you watch Netflix, do you watch the same episode over and over again? No, you move on to the next one, yes? If you only watch the first episode over and over again, someone might say you're crazy. You're on a hamster wheel. Like, there's another episode. So my point is, train B is going to take you to episode 2. Train B is going to take you to destination number 2, which is an undiscovered territory. It's been discovered by others, don't get me wrong. But it's an undiscovered territory that's never been discovered by you. You might have brushed against it, but you're obviously not indwelling that frequency. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep playing these games, right? So train A is a choice. You have a free will that's been assigned to you. You are an autonomous being. No one is telling you what you should or shouldn't do. No one. You're free to do what you please. Train A is going to take you there. And then you're going to get back to station 1 that then takes you to train A, and again and again and again and again and again. Train B is going to be the shifting of a pattern that's been firmly instilled in you. It's a solidified pattern that you've given so much energy to that it has set into your physicality, into your DNA, into your cells, and only you can release that. No one can do it for you. You have to break out of that old pattern to discover a new pattern. So you get on train B, and I'm like, okay, I've been here before. I really want to respond right now. That's been my thing. I really want to respond right now, but I'm just going to breathe. Because by breathing, I'm sinking my rainbow tentacles into the entire collective subconscious, and I'm going to be depositing a recipe for everyone else to access. I'm going to upload a new solution for everyone else. It's not a new solution, it's just that not a lot of people are uploading those solutions. They're too busy being on train A. You see? So the reason why cosmic information or higher dimensional information is harder to capture is because not a lot of people are disciplined enough to do the work. That's why. Everyone keeps feeding into train A. We're all telepathically interconnected. Very few go against the grain of the wood and reach for the higher and higher and higher thought. Why do you think there are so few masters that existed this planet or that walked upon this planet? There was Buddha, there was Jesus, there was Mary Magdalene, there was all these masters that were incarnate. They weren't different than us. They weren't different than you. They just did the work. They took that extra pause. They decided to get on train B. So, and then they reach that new vista of consciousness. They're not different. We're all equal. It's just that most people are programmed. And when you're programmed, you keep feeding into the programs. When you're programmed, you keep feeding into the lie that you're unworthy. When you're programmed, you keep feeding into the negative comments because everyone else is doing that. So it's very easy to default to that. It's very easy to default to that. Most people do. That's why most people are asleep. So we call it the choice point. The next time that you feel triggered, you have a free will. You get to determine the outcome of what you're going to do and what that's going to look like. And again, these are all metaphors, but I think they're pertinent to this entire spiritual journey. And what I would encourage you to do is choose something different this time. You've watched episode 1 once, twice, that's fine. But a third time, that's a lot. Like, move on to the next. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys is that I had a dream the other night where I saw dark mist everywhere, and I've had this dream before. There's dark mist on this planet. And the dark mist is a result of all of our lower vibrational choices. When we talk crap about each other, when we deceive each other, when we backstab each other, when we do all these things that feed into the artificial grid system, which is a control structure, which is a structure of dominion and wanting to keep you from your innate abilities as a divine being. Okay? So there is a matrix on this planet. It's a third dimensional matrix. And then there's a higher matrix, which is a fifth dimensional matrix. That dark mist is almost like the combination of all the energies that we're still giving over to the 3D matrix. When all is fine and dandy, there's nothing to talk about. Everything is good. Everything's smooth. But the symbolism in the dream that I got was, we need to focus on the darkness. We need to focus on what causes us to flare up. That's what we need to focus on, because think of it like this. I'm going to give you a macro scale to the micro scale right now. Planet Earth is a human just like us. She's a being. She's a living organism. So just like you can't reach graduation unless you address these things, she can't reach graduation unless we address it for her. Meaning we are her. We are like the micro, we're like the ants, or the cute little ants that are running around, that are cleaning things up. So planet Earth needs us to be cooperative, because unless we really identify what it is that triggers us, which is a collective imprint, then she's not reaching graduation. We're here to serve her. She's also here to serve us. She's housing us. That's a service. She's offering us an experience. But if we're here to serve her, then start thinking of her as a bigger version of you, not a bigger in a better way. I'm talking she's just a big planet. So, wow, we have 910 people here right now. Wow. So she's a bigger version of you. You need to address this in order to reach graduation, yes? Because that next level is going to require you to have new tools in your toolbox, to have new weapons in your arsenal. If you go into the next level without that expertise, you're going to get killed within 2 seconds. As a matter of fact, they won't even let you in. You can't go to level 3. If you play a video game, you can't get to level 3 unless you beat level 2. You can't. We are in a video game from one perspective. So your team needs you to look at the game from outside, as if you're playing it. Oh, I died. I'll try again. Oh, this boss in the game beat me. I'll try again. I'll know better next time. I'll know exactly what his tactics are, what his strategies are. Okay? So this life, this planet is like an interactive video game. You have to look at it from the outside in order to bring resolution to what's going on inside of you. Woo, I love that. You have to look at it from the outside in order to bring resolution to what's going on inside. If you get all wrapped up in what someone said, if you get all tripped up, you're not seeing clearly. You're blind. You're going unconscious again. That reflection is going to continually show up for you to bring resolution to it. You understand? So you have to do this in order to reach that next level. Planet Earth has to do the same. So we can't bypass what we need to address, because then she won't reach graduation. Think of how profound that is. We can't just be like these ants crawling around and acting like all is well, or oh, it's cool, I'm just going to play the Joker and it doesn't matter. Everything matters. Every single reaction you have matters. And that's her cleaning herself up from within. You're the energy inside of her. You're the light inside of her. If you don't clean up that little spot over there, ain't nobody going to clean it up. You have to clean it up. You can't just bypass it. You can't just say, ooh, my entire apartment is clean except for that one corner over there, so let me just play and leave that there. That's the jokester energy, it's the trickster energy. You have to go there in the corner. That's the most important part. So, as a final message, I want to share this, and then we're going to wrap up. And thank you to everyone who donated. I appreciate you. This is really going to strike a chord, you guys. Get ready, okay? Every single time that someone presses a button of yours, it is an offering from the universe to retrieve that part of your soul that you gave away. To retrieve the part of your soul that you gave away. Meaning, you abdicated your authority. You turned your power over to another. And now that power is actually being served on a golden platter saying, here. And you can't see that because you're too hung up on making a smug remark and giving a rebuttal. Start looking at it differently. The power that you once gave away is returning to you so that you can become an embodied soul. So that you can integrate all those fragments, I don't like that word, but you can integrate all those pieces of your soul into your physical system. Do you get it? So when someone goes, ah, on the street, right? They flip a finger, the middle finger. That power is being sent back to you if you just breathe and let it go. If you say, thank you, universe, for bringing those fragments back home. I'm ready to upgrade myself. I'm ready to recall my power. But if you get quick to anger, or if you want to wittingly, or I want to say, if you want to be savvy and give them the answer that they never thought of, are you really upgrading your system? Or are you more concerned with people outside of you than yourself? I would say it's the second one. It's the latter. You're more concerned about people outside of you than your own ascension. And that was my light bulb moment last week. That was a big one. It was a big aha. My guys were like, Phil, we get it. You got this. You know how to teleport. Cool. Now what? And I've met teachers in my life that figure out how the law of attraction works, and that's all they talk about the rest of their life. That's great. To me, that's very limiting. It's very limiting. Wonderful. You can specialize in the law of attraction, and that's all you do. Perfect. But that's not the entire universe. There are other laws. Now, again, I like people who have specialization, so I don't want to disregard those people. I'm just saying I'm wired differently. I'm not complacent in just this or just that. This is about constantly up-leveling yourself. Constantly. If something becomes too easy to teach, you're not challenging yourself enough. So, and I know I'm going to be called out by the people who follow me, because the people who follow me have names like Ascension Fairy 1111 and Metaphysical Warrior 2222. So my people don't play. I don't have regular people on my thing, okay? I have star seeds who follow me. So I love you guys so much, and I hope this helped you. And remember, your power is being offered to you. Are you going to accept it, or are you going to reject it? Are you going to allow yourself to get triggered and respond, or are you going to breathe and say, thank you, universe, I'm ready to sit with this emotion. I'm ready to feel my wound rather than to feed my wound. And just like that, poof, abracadabra, you up-level yourself to a whole new dimension. And you gain new insights, you gain new perspectives, you receive keys to other realms. I love you guys so much. Many blessings. Oh, thank you for that last donation.